The Salem Witch Trials, America's darkest chapter. In the year 1692, the small Puritan village of Salem, Massachusetts, was a deeply religious community. The people believed that the devil walked among them, always searching for weak souls to corrupt. Life was hard. Bitterly cold winters, scarce food, and constant fear of native attacks. In such a tense environment, it took only a spark to ignite hysteria. That spark came from a group of young girls. 9-year-old Betty Paris and her cousin Abigail Williams began to suffer from strange fits. They screamed uncontrollably, twisted their bodies in unnatural ways, and claimed that invisible spirits were tormenting them. Soon, other girls in Salem began to show the same symptoms. The terrified villagers turned to religion for answers. And in Puritan belief, such behavior could only mean one thing: witchcraft. The frightened girls began naming the people who, they claimed, were afflicting them. The first accused were 3 women: Tituba, an enslaved woman from the Caribbean; Sarah Good, a poor beggar; and Sarah Osborne, an elderly woman who rarely went to church. Under pressure, Tituba confessed. She claimed that the devil had forced her to serve him and that there were others in Salem working with him. Her confession shocked the town and fueled the fire of suspicion. Suddenly, anyone could be a witch. The trials began. In a society already burdened by fear, the accusations spread like a plague. Neighbors accused neighbors, children pointed at parents, old grudges resurfaced, and many used the witch panic as a weapon to settle personal scores. The courts accepted spectral evidence, meaning that if someone said they saw your ghost or spirit in a dream attacking them, it was considered proof. Imagine, your enemy could simply claim, "I saw his spirit choking me in the night," and you could be condemned to death. By the summer of 1692, dozens were imprisoned. The jails overflowed with men, women, and even children, all accused of serving Satan. Trials were swift, often unfair, and nearly impossible to escape. One by one, the accused were hanged, 19 people in total. Most were women, but not all. One of the most famous victims was Rebecca Nurse, a respected elderly woman who had lived a pious life. Despite her reputation, the court found her guilty. When she was hanged, many began to doubt the fairness of the trials, but by then, the fear was too strong. Another victim was Giles Corey, an 81-year-old man. When accused of witchcraft, he refused to enter a plea. In those days, refusing to plead meant the court could not proceed. To force him, they used a brutal punishment called pressing. Heavy stones were placed on his chest. Each time he was asked to confess, Giles Corey simply groaned. More weight. He was slowly crushed to death, becoming a symbol of resistance against injustice. The hysteria continued for months. Over 200 people were accused, and more than 30 were found guilty. Families were torn apart, farms left abandoned, and fear hung over every household. But by the end of 1692, the madness began to fade. The governor of Massachusetts, shocked by how far things had gone, ordered the trials to stop. Later, the colony admitted the trials were a terrible mistake. The courts overturned convictions, and the families of the victims were paid compensation. But no amount of money could erase the fear and pain Salem had endured. To this day, historians argue about what really caused the Salem witch trials. Was it mass hysteria fueled by religion and superstition? Was it greed and jealousy among neighbors? Or were the girls simply pretending, their lies spiraling out of control? Whatever the truth, the Salem witch trials remain one of America's darkest chapters. They remind us of how fear can blind justice, how rumors can destroy lives, and how dangerous it is when society lets superstition guide the law. Even today, the name Salem carries a haunting legacy. Tourists visit the old town, walking the same paths where innocents once stood accused. Some say the spirits of the victims still linger, whispering in the night, an eternal reminder of the price of fear. The Salem Witch Trials, America's darkest chapter. In the cold winter of 1692, the small Puritan village of Salem, Massachusetts, became the stage for one of the darkest episodes in American history. It began with whispers, strange fits, and violent contortions among young girls. They screamed of visions, ghostly figures, and the devil himself. The frightened community looked for answers, and quickly suspicion fell upon neighbors. Accusations of witchcraft spread like wildfire. At first, only a few were named, but soon the hysteria consumed the town. Husbands accused wives, children accused parents, friends turned on each other. To be accused was almost certain death. The courts accepted dreams and visions as evidence. If someone claimed they saw your specter harming them, it was enough to convict you. 19 innocent people were executed, most of them women. One man, Giles Corey, refused to plead guilty. For his silence, he was pressed to death with heavy stones, whispering only, "More weight." By the time the hysteria ended, dozens had been imprisoned, families torn apart, and Salem forever marked by fear. Historians still debate, was it mass paranoia, a struggle for power, or something darker that haunted the village? The Salem Witch Trials remind us how fear can blind a community, how superstition can destroy lives, and how fragile justice becomes when guided by fear instead of truth. Even today, the name Salem carries with it a haunting shadow, an echo of the cries of those who were accused, condemned, and silenced forever.